Welcome to the Life's Best Medicine podcast, where we are finding hope and healing one episode at a time. No appointment needed, no rubber gloves, and no coping. Just a healthy dose of life lessons to help equip you for this wild journey we call life. Hey everyone, this is a friendly reminder that we are here for entertainment purposes only. We may not even be that entertaining at times, but this is not medical advice. Talk to your doctor, check with your healthcare professionals before making any lifestyle changes or medicine changes. What we're talking about is our clinical experience and what we've seen. And so if you really want our advice, you can consult us. You can actually consult me as a doctor, or you can consult my guest and get all your questions answered. But we can't give free medical advice because we can't pay our bills with that, but we can help to educate you a bit and allow you to think a little bit. And always reach out to your medical professional before making any lifestyle changes. Thank you.
Discover a new path to wellness at Arizona Metabolic Health. Dr. Brian Lenskis offers advanced medicine and personalized care, treating the root causes of your health concerns, not just the symptoms. Whether you're seeking direct primary care, effective diabetes management, or medical weight loss, with a holistic approach, our team is here to guide you every step of the way. Visit ArizonaMetabolicHealth.com today to learn more about our innovative health solutions.
Oh my goodness, it's July already. Where did the year go? Hopefully you're out having fun in the sun, going to the beach, lake, river, wherever you're going for fun. Hopefully you're hanging out with friends and having a good time. The kids are out of school and, we're being more active, hopefully. So to that end, our sponsor here who made this episode possible, health code GETHLTH.com, gethealth.com. Great company, great product, creamy vanilla, chocolate macadamia, shake mix. You can, tons of good nutritional value in there, and you can make it into bars and take it with you on the hikes. You can make it into pudding and have that at night with the kids, whatever. And, just enjoy some good nutrition, and it can taste good too. So we can stay on track for the summer, and then, hopefully we stay on track for the winter that's coming up. So thank you, Health Code, for sponsoring this episode. We greatly appreciate you. And try their berberine too if you haven't tried that. It's a great product for improving metabolic health and gut health. So thank you, Health Code. Hello and welcome back to the Life's Best Medicine podcast. I took a week off. I had a little family tragedy. My mom passed away, and we had some family things going and all that. And so thank you for all the well wishes and everyone who's reached out to me. I greatly appreciate it. And we're doing great as a family. And it was if you got to go, it was a good thing, being surrounded by people who love you and not being in pain and all that kind of stuff. But now that you know why I took a week off, I have a huge rock star here today. He's a guy you're going to hear a lot about in the future. His name keeps popping up. You probably heard him talk. I have to call him Dr. Rubén, but Dr. Rubén Ancona Bolaños. I'm going to butcher your name, man. I'm a gringo. I can't help it.
Yeah, I know. You need to learn about it.
And you probably say it Rubén down there, right? Is that how you say it?
Yeah, it's not like the sandwich, because some people say, "Hey, Rubén, I'm not the sandwich, man."
Yeah.
But anyway, it's okay. I don't care about it. It's Rubén. Yeah, in Espanol it's Rubén.
Oh man, you can't make me roll the R's. That's my last. I got to figure that out, man. I'm working on it. If you do your conference down there, I promise I'll learn the rolling R before.
Yeah, I have been promising that to you. I think it's San Diego 2021, I think.
Yeah, back in the day, right? Man. But hey, thanks for all you do. And you're at the conference, you're a bright light. You're so kind and everyone loves you. And then your name keeps coming up, like what you're doing. And I'll tell you, I've had a heart for Latin America. I go to Guatemala and El Salvador, and I've been a lot through Central America and Mexico. And man, there's such a need. So what you're doing is so huge, but I know you're up against the wall. So let's start out. I want people to know who you are. How did you grow up? As a kid, how was life? How was things? How do you end up being a doctor of all things?
First of all, thank you for the invitation, Brian, because even if you don't think and you don't believe this, but you're one of my starting practitioners, I think, that I started follow, because as I mentioned you earlier, I saw the Fat Fiction movie, and you were a rock star there. And that was one of the films that opened my mind, and I started my journey. I think I can think that that was the beginning, and so I very
And
appreciate.
you were already a doctor at that point, right?
Yeah, I was an MD. Yeah, doctor. I don't know if
But you changed your views, like you started looking and going, wait a minute, is there something to this?
I swallow the pill, man. I swallow the pill and I go out the matrix. I don't know if I still in the matrix. It's just like the Inception movie, you know. It's very awkward, but yeah, I was raised in a beautiful family. I can't say I didn't have a good life. I was the older of three brothers, one sister and one brother, and I had one brother who passed away. But he was I think he was 3 months old. He
Wow.
has this condition, you know, about the unique ventricle, you know, like the unique ventricle in the heart.
Yes. Yeah,
And
congenital cardiac.
he
Yeah.
was he was the first of the family who had a visa to cross the border to the United States, because
Wow.
that told me that they were tried to go to Houston, and but it was not much to do. And anyway, my mom,
Oh, so that's hard on the family, your
yeah, it
mom and
was very
dad.
hard,
Yeah.
but I was a little kid, and it happened.
Wow.
And my mom never told about it, since I share with my family that my younger son, that he's just 1 month and 10 days, he's we call him like the name Esteban.
Oh,
He's
wow.
Esteban. And we
Wow.
talk with my mom, my wife and I talk with my mom about it. And, you know, you can believe in something. I don't know if you believe in God or something else. I don't know, but weird things happen, like good weird things happen. And my mom cried, but after that we start talking about it, you know, like,
Yeah, there's healing.
I mean,
Yeah, healing. Yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
healing, man.
No,
And
I'm a man of faith too, and so I know, so much that we see, and that's the other reason. That's funny though. I'm glad you bring that up because that's one of the reasons I started this podcast. Because on low carb MD, if I talked about faith, people would say just talk low carb keto. That has nothing to do with it. I go, it has a lot to do with it because faith helps
definitely.
people to get better, and you have to believe in something. You have to believe that you're going to get better and there's going to be a better day, because the worst thing that can happen is you give up all hope and don't try, right? That's when people commit suicide. They think there's no out. So if you know, hey, there's going to be better days, we're going through hard times like what you've been through, and then naming your son after your brother that's really cool and healing for the family.
Definitely. And yeah, because if you need to believe in something, because that makes you have a purpose. And if you have a purpose in this life, you will be mostly healthy. I think the key to metabolic health, mental health, that we know that is the same, uh, is to have a why, as Friedrich Nietzsche said. No? Uh, but anyway,
Yeah,
and
have
yeah,
a why, and then you remember when things get hard. Why am I doing this? If you're training for the Olympics, you go, "This is why I'm doing it. I want that
this is
medal, or I want to win." And so, having that why, so many of us forget that. We get through and things get hard and go forget it. Then the holidays come, and you go, "Okay, I'll start again in January." You forget, "Oh, I don't want to take diabetes medicines anymore," or whatever it is. So, anyone listening, that's really good
yeah.
information.
Yes, and yeah, I grew up as the older boy, because I have a sister, a little sister. She born 1 year after Esteban's, my son's, my brother's death, and but he passed away. And after 12 years after my sister, I had a younger brother. I had the last brother. I could be his dad. I was 18 years old when he born, and I learned a lot about being a father. I think I had a relation. I had a father, and I love him, and he's still alive, thanks God, and I love him. But it was a cool dynamic because sometimes I used to hook sometimes to go with girls, you know, like I was with him and the girl said, oh, he's a single dad.
Oh
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, like a
Yeah, yeah.
the,
My oldest brother and I we're almost 10 years apart, and it's funny because like like I could always tease him about being older, but he always looked way younger than me because he's super young looking. But he was
okay,
like a
yeah,
father figure to me too. He went to all my sporting events, and if I played football, he was there at every game, videotaping, yelling, all that stuff. So yeah, I know
yeah,
what you're talking about. And being 18, that's a
yeah, I
big
was
difference for
18.
sure.
Yeah. And right now he's in his puberty, and I think he will be the cool uncle for my kids, but it's okay. And he's a great guy. I am blessed with a beautiful
That's
family, not perfect family, of course, but I am very blessed. And I'm from a doctor. I have uncle, my grandpa, two uncles, and my grandpa were clinicians. And
wow.
that's hard because I'm the outsider, but not totally an outsider, and I will tell you why. But um, I wanted to be like my uncle, like my grandpa. He was uh, GYB, gynecologist, and he was one of the first specialists, like in the good way of the allopathic medicine specialist in the GYOB, yeah,
Hmm.
and it was the ancient, like the old teachings. They kept this human medicine. He was also family medicine doctor. He has the specialty, but also he was also a family
Like
clinician.
primary care, yeah, like
Yeah,
taking
he
care of
was
family. Yeah,
that
yeah.
because we are all that. We started there. Like, I don't care your specialty, you still a clinician, a generalist. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I learned a lot about him, and I wanted to be a clinician. I didn't know which specialty I wanted. All when I was studying, I think I will be a pediatrician. No, 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 no. When I saw cardiology, I want to be cardiologist.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's very interesting because I studied 1 year nutrition. Nutrition. I started my first
In med school?
university. Yeah, yeah. No, I started with. I did 1 year of nutrition as. Okay, so I got a scholarship in a university when medicine hasn't started. Like the plant, the opening, it hasn't opened. But they told me that in 1 year they would start
Yeah.
career. So I started nutrition 1 year because I love nutrition. I like sports, like all the stuff, like eat more, like eat less, and do
Exercise
more
more and
exercise.
don't eat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, and I liked it, but after that, I went to the med school.
Oh,
So I
wow.
was feel like I was the pride, I think, of my mom, my uncles, because I was a good intern. I don't know if in the
Yeah,
United States
internal
you.
medicine. Yeah.
No, no, no. When you do
Oh,
your rotation,
internship.
your internship. Yeah,
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 the first year. Yeah.
yeah. I was the like I manage the other interns. Like
Oh,
I
yeah,
was
yeah. Like the
I was
chief resident. Like we call it the chief resident here in the US.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It was hard, man. But anyway, I loved it. And after that year, I made my my service. We do service to in the towns, in the
Underserved
vicinities.
areas.
Yeah, and that is the year where you start studying for the exam
Hmm.
for the in
The
Mexico it's called,
boards.
yeah, the board, yeah, for the specialty. So for the specialty. And I wanted to be an ophthalmologist, man. I wanted to be an ophthalmologist, and everybody said, why you want to be an ophthalmologist? Because I hate the words. I hate the no sleeping. I don't function very well with no sleeping. Okay, I was that kind of soft clinician, if you
You know
want.
what? I'll tell you. You know, it's funny you're saying that because you're especially when I did my gynecology and general surgery rotation, I'm like, no, no, not
That's
doing
not
that.
for
I was up
yeah.
all night. You're up all night. Everyone's grumpy. They're getting up at 2 in the morning. Like you have to get like, you know, we're not called in the middle of the night usually, but you know, the surgeons all the time, all the time. So
Yeah.
they're grumpy and you know, and then there's conflict between the surgeons and the gynecologists. Everyone's got their own like, you know, it's
Yes.
just
And
interesting to see temperament and personality.
yeah, it has to be because I couldn't sleep. Maybe because I saw all my colleagues and my friends that they slept during the ward, and they just on ward, and when the nurse called and they wake up, but I couldn't sleep because I think I'm on ward, so I shouldn't sleep. But the day after that, I was like a mess, you know.
Oh
uh,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
I love the Sherlock Holmes part of medicine, you know, like the biochemistry. I always loved that. My favorite subject was immunology. I loved about the cytokines. I learned all of the cytokines. I love that. It was a lot of biochemistry. I love biochemistry. I was in the Olympics. I don't know if the name the games of chemistry in my high school and in mathematics. I love that kind of science. And actually, my teachers in high school, they told me, why would you want to be a clinician? You need to be something about engineer or something about it. But anyway, I wanted to be like my grandpa. Okay, so okay, and I took the exam 2 years, and in Mexico the exam is very interesting because you only apply to one and one only specialty. If and you compete and you battle against the ones who are in the same tendency, who want to be
Hmm.
to the same specialty, but uh, you can be as you can have a great score, but if you are not in the number of the ones against that one ophthalmology, you don't pass the exam. It's very difficult because in other countries, like in Spain, you can select. If you don't get through that specialty, you can go to another one if you have a higher score of the people who want to do
Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
specialty.
So
But
you
that
pick, and if you don't get in, you're a really
no,
competitive one. You just don't get in.
no, yeah, definitely. And
Oh
I
my
was
gosh.
79 the first year, and the second year I think 76 for total score from 100, and the other year I think 73. I was below the one answer of to entry to the specialty
Wow.
twice, 2 years in a row, same stuff.
For
And
ophthalmology.
for ophthalmology, yeah, I know.
Wow.
I tried that year, both years.
So what happens if you don't get in? You wait another year?
Yeah, I waited another year. Yeah.
Oh my
Anyway, the
gosh.
next year, Brian, next year, they the pandemic begins. Begin. It was the COVID, and I don't know. I'm very blessed because if I would go to this pass the exam, I would be with working as working with COVID patients and not studying for ophthalmology because that happened in Mexico
Yeah, yeah.
pandemic. People in the specialty,
They had to
uh,
all do front lines. Yeah.
yeah, they do frontline. So I was trying to do. Okay, I got married that year because I always had good grades, and I said, okay, this year I will the exam will be for me and I will pass and we will go to the specialty together, but I didn't pass. So I was about to marry and also with no plan, no work, no income. Yeah, but
stressful, man. Dang.
Yeah, very stressful. And I met this nutritionist from the Mexico City before pandemic. They tried to start a clinic of ketogenic diets, and they needed a clinician for read the labs of the patient, for be the one of charge. And I took the job because I needed the job. Okay. And they told me the pay was good. And okay. So while I start for the next year, I will be working in this job. So they told me that they want.
And you didn't know anything about keto or anything. You just said, I'll take the job, right?
No. Yeah. I knew something about keto. I knew that is death. And keto is cardiovascular disease. I know keto is
it's going to kill you. You'll die in a week.
Yeah. But I needed the job. And I had a principal, and I tried to go, a principal guy. I tried to go with my principles. But sometimes when you have this push, I needed the job. But I said, okay, let's dig something. And the first thing they told me was see this movie about fat fiction. Just see it and use your critical thinking, okay? And that made so much sense to me. And then I went to PubMed. I saw lots of research that I had never read. I saw George Cahill experiments. I saw ketogenic diet for pediatricians. The George Cahill experiment, when people was fasted for I don't remember how many days, and they put insulin of them, and I said, that's crazy. I don't believe in
it. And they were all fine, walking around with sugars of 26 and 18, and they're fine because they were running on ketones. And he proved the point. Like, you would never be able to do that study now, right?
Never. Long story short, I started this journey. Thanks to you, thanks to Prof Notes, I decided to go to Low Carb San Diego 21 because I got involved in Low Carb USA, that page, because Dr. Brett Scher had a course in a free course in therapeutic. I don't remember the therapeutic use of ketogenic diet or low carb diet for chronic disease, and I took that course, and my mind exploded. I started using that diet during pandemic, and my patients got better, and from mouth to mouth, I was recommended people to people. We're in Yucatan. We're just like a town, it's a very, we're still a town, and the word spread. And I saw lots of, it overreached me. I don't know if the word, like it
overwhelmed you.
Because I had
how many people are coming?
Yeah, I saw like 15 to 16 patients per day.
Wow.
And I didn't, but the consultations on low carb keto, are at least 45 minutes, because you need to explain everything, like
you're preaching to the choir. That's why I got out of the system, because I said, you know what, I could do a Zoom meeting with all my patients and teach them all the same, because my medical assistant said, Doc, you're saying the same thing all day. And I go, yeah, I know, because they need to know the information. So I'm like, either I tape record it, or I could start a podcast and say, hey, go listen to episode number 12, listen to this episode, right? And so it's so helpful. But yes, but you're right, it's so hard, because you go, gosh, but it's that upfront investment too, right? So we spend that hour up front. Those patients aren't going to need us all the time, because they get so much healthier. And that's why I love direct primary care. That's why I love what I do. Because I have a guy right now, he said, he was joking. He's a super nice guy, but he's inflamed. His sugars are high. He feels terrible. His mood. He's got fibromyalgia. And his friend, who's my neighbor, said, "Go see doc. Just go see him." I said, "I'll see him for free. Have him come in." And then that day he signed up with me, and he goes, "I hate your stuff, but his sugars are flat and they look perfect." And before he wore this continuous glucose for a week, and I told him to watch Fat Fish. I go, "Watch that, and you're gonna see what I'm talking about." But his sugars are perfect right now. I mean, you look and you go, "Wow!" And I know how much he's feeling better, and it's so great, to see that. But it takes
That's the biggest
education.
payout. Yeah, that's the biggest payout. It's beautiful to see people get better. And I think one of the frustration of doctors is that they never cure anything. They never, and that is frustrating. And that's why sometimes doctors are more like hard, like they are more like narcissists, and they got because they don't see good things, man.
Well, it's funny. What your story is funny because a lot of doctors now, like you said, you kind of sell your soul and you go, "I need the job." So these doctors are saying, "I need the job. If I'm not
Yeah,
helping people, I know I went here to help people, but I need a paycheck. I have a med school loans. I got this. I got all these things I have to do." And they'll go, I'll just work in a mill and forget about being a doctor. And later on, maybe I'll do it. Right. So you are so fortunate and blessed to be in the
I
position
know,
you were
man.
in to
Super
start out that
blessing.
way.
Yeah, I can't believe the blessed I am because like twice in a row, like failing the exam, but having like great score. Like I could choose any other specialty,
Yeah, exactly.
but I think in English we call in Spanish los tiempos de Dios son perfectos, just like the times of
The
God are
timings are
perfect.
perfect.
Yeah.
Even though it's
And
not what you want, it works out perfect over time. You go, "That's why it didn't happen," right? God's in control.
he was laughing at me when I told him I want to be an ophthalmologist. I know he just laughed.
He said, "I have something else for you. I have something different," right?
Yeah. And I'm very blessed. And yeah, I have been in low carb USA. It's a huge investment for us. We pay. San Diego is very expensive, and for us, I earn in Mexican pesos, but hard work, man, and have a purpose. And you're one. I have two young sons, a beautiful wife that pushes me. She kept my shoes in the ground, uh, and I ask her that when you see me like raising one of those two, just kick me, because I own a lot to her, and I'm very grateful with that.
Man, I
And
get goosebumps you saying that. I feel the same way, man. My wife goes, "I had a
I
good
know.
job. I was making good money." She said, "Brian, get out. You're gonna die. You're gonna die. You can't work like this all the time. You got to be able to relax and have fun and not be thinking, 'Oh, I have charts to do. I have to be here. I got to be here.'" So to be able to take a breath, we go for hikes most morning or ride our mountain bikes, and we have a good time. And that little time, like for 18 years of my old practice, I don't think we had breakfast, maybe never. On the weekends maybe, but together having a cup of coffee was a huge luxury because I'd be out the door at 4:30 in the morning. So I have sympathy for docs in the system because get up at 4:30, do your hospital rounds, then you get to the office, people are calling you, you're running around, and all of a sudden it's 9 at night again, and you go, "Oh my gosh, I got to go home," and then repeat, and so yeah, to have someone who says, "Look, we'll sacrifice together and we'll get through this and make it happen," and and look where you're at now.
Yes, definitely, and we're still growing. We're still
Are you on your own now or you're in a group?
yeah. No. I mean, I since the beginning, I am blessed to be in a private office, and right now I was like asked to work in a longevity program as the medical doctor, and it's from the United States, and I feel very great, honored to be part of that. My role there is to read the labs, sometimes ask for a CAC score or sometimes something about it, and use the CGMs. I don't use the diet because we have the dietitians, but it's about low carb, insulin resistant, ketogenic. It's carnivore focused,
Yeah.
and
Isn't
and
it wild
very
how it's come around? Isn't it wild to you that Brett Sure, I don't know if you know, but we did residency together. We were in the same residency program. And then we left. And then years later, we came
It's
back and we're like,
amazing.
holy cow, we're saying the same thing. How can this be? And then now he's doing metabolic mind. And he's doing a great job over there. But, when you think, he's a cardiologist and doing brain stuff now. But when you see the effects of this, it's really undeniable. Like you said, you swallow the pill and you go, oh my gosh, that's what, I owe it all to Jason Fung was the same kind of thing. I heard him give I saw him on YouTube or something. I'm like, what's this guy talking about? He's nuts. Talking about fasting? He's crazy. You're going to eat more the next day and you're going to go into starvation mode. But then when you hear him and he reached out to me, we reached out to each other, and it was amazing to learn about insulin resistance, metabolic health, and how it's changed over the years. I think our focus is changing too. And I think that it's great to see what
Yeah.
works clinically, And so you may have changed what you're doing now from what you were doing a few years back.
If I would think about what would be my position now, like 6 years ago, I wouldn't believe it. I feel very grateful. I have learned a lot. We're still learning lots of things in this diet, because as the time goes, we have more experience with the carnivore diet, because lots of people are using carnivore diet, ketogenic diets. People in the same page are right now like having these discussions, like the insulin suppression, that there are people that don't believe in that. There are people, they think about the microbiome. There are skeptics about the microbiome. But I think that most of us, I think, are not like dogmatic. We try to figure it out what works, and have the best thing for our patients, our real patients, because it's not the same to be someone who works for you and you are super dogmatic about the ketogenic diet, the carnivore diet. But when you see real life patients, that is something that I don't want to lose, because that teach me a lot. Uh, uh, you see another picture about what should be, as Jordan Peterson says, that what it is and what should be, and what's the middle about it, because you need to get there.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, the wild thing is, and now it's metabolic mind, but Tro and I were seeing it clinically. We were both saying, you know what? I'm seeing people happier. They're more enjoying life. They're not smoking as much, drinking as much. They're not doing crazy stuff anymore, and the couples are getting along better. They're not having this conflict. And we talked about it, and then we got attacked for a while. But it's amazing. The more as a matter of fact, the movie Fat Fiction, they interviewed my patients, because the movie was about.
I know.
But
Yeah.
what's interesting, what that you don't know, that you didn't see, is we had those 5 patients up there, and they were all talking about reversing diabetes and how great it is, losing weight and their blood pressure. But the first lady says, you know what? The biggest thing was it was like I walked out of a fog. I was depressed my entire life and stressed. And all of a sudden, one day I woke up and I could hear the bird singing, and I saw the sun, and I decided I wanted to go see my neighbors. I started cleaning my house. I started doing things I've never done before, exercising. And the guy next to her started crying. I said, me too. And then once me too, me too. All 5 of them said the same thing, that their mood got better. And it wasn't in the movie because it was too controversial at the time. Right?
Hey, well, Dave Feldman movie, The Cholesterol Code. I was invited to the premiere in Las Vegas, the cholesterol code that they is doing, and they are using this metabolic the metabolic psychiatry, because they share the stories of people that use keto for psychiatry conditions. And yeah, we see change in the way people enjoy life, and that's what I'm focus in my practice. I start reading about psychology, neuroscience. That's what I'm doing right now, neuroscience, psychology, like something about how our brain really works. I love about neurotransmitters. And that is something I'm working on. Like, for me, ketogenic diet is not just a diet for losing weight or raise your metabolism, or something that we know it does, but maybe it's a dopamine detox thing. Like, if you stop eating a huge variety of a huge variety, yeah, is the word variety
Variety,
of
you got it.
variety, yeah, sorry, of things, our brain always want more and more and more, and they want something different. And eat the same or like the same every day is something uncomfortable. And doing uncomfortable things is something that raise your sensitivity to dopamine, raise your your DR receptors in the nucleus accumbens, and you can enjoy more for less. Because if you have low receptors, you will need more dopamine things to feel good.
Well,
And
plus if you're less stressed and you're enjoying life more and you're laughing more, you don't need to escape from something with cookies anymore because your life's good. Like what you say is like if someone's getting a massage, they don't say I need to stop the massage in the middle and go get a cookie. You're like massage. You're in a relaxed state. You're not stressed right
you're
now.
enjoying the massage.
Yes. Yeah. If you're out for a hike with your family, you don't say, okay, let's stop. We got to go back and eat something. You go, okay, we're going to finish the hike and go see the waterfall we want to see or whatever we're doing, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
So there's so much to this, and that's why I love that you're doing it because it's so important to have good and we've talked to your patients and what you've done with autoimmune disease, helping people. And yeah, I would love to talk about that too, because even in your patient that we interviewed, she was saying, you know, with all of her autoimmune stuff, and I said, asked her, did you have trauma before? And she's had major trauma before onset. And you know, 90% of the time, at least we're seeing this, that within a month, some people have major life traumas before they get autoimmune disease. And then you say, what is that? Why does that happen? Or a major surgery or something, you know? And so maybe we could talk a little bit about that. What's your theory on these things?
Well, that's very interesting because you are right now researching about the microbiome, you know, and I think we have two states. We have the fight or flight, and we have the rest and digest when we are in the parasympathetic or sympathetic. When we are on stress, we are fight or flying, and our system will prioritize the adrenergic system rather than the parasympathetic system. And if you eat when you're fighting with a lion, your gut lining will be very weak because you don't have nutrients there, because your nutrients are in the periphery, you know, because you are with
Yeah,
your
your
heart.
body's sending all the blood. Is it stop digesting, go and send to the brain, the lungs,
Yes,
everywhere so you can get away from this lion. Yep,
definitely.
absolutely.
And we won't digest the macro particles because we won't have enough energy for our enzymes to be produced, because all our glucose, oxygen, ketones, you know, will be in the muscles, in the skeletal muscle. And you will have your microbiome trying to go through you, because you won't have enough energy to produce enough like mucus layer, that is your first defense system, your chlorhydric acid. I don't know if you.
How come no one talks about this? Why do you think no one
Sorry?
talks about this? You know, it's funny because there's a resistance to talking about resistant starches. There's a huge resistance when I talk to my carnivore friends. Here, I'll show you this. Anyone watching, you get a. This is I just pulled this up today. As a matter of fact, let me share this with you, Doc.
Yeah, sure.
So
Yeah,
this is something I just look at this slide right here. So this is one of my patients. He's been carnivore for 2 years. A1C 6.4, right? Having seizures. And so I'm looking, I go, listen, you know, and his triglycerides are high. I'm like, you got to cheat. He goes, I don't cheat. I eat meat and eggs. That's it. Every once in a while, I have a piece of broccoli or something, but he goes, that's my diet. I'll eat steak all day. I'm happy. So look at it. This is gut microbiome pre when he's having seizures, having all of his issues. This is the Bacteroides formicutes super low. This is Akkermansia is non-existent. Akkermansia makes the mucus layer and Presnutzi. These guys all help. Lactobacillus, super important. His bifidobacterium, again, these guys are really, really important for neurotransmitters also in the brain. And then you look over here. This is at post after we treated and fixed his gut a little bit. Look, all of his markers got better. Everything's in the normal range. He feels great. He hasn't had a seizure now in at least 9 months. And you go, maybe that's part of why. And possibly, and I'd love to hear your take on this, but when you're in a ketogenic diet, you're making butyrate, right? And so you're nourishing the gut lining. But what happens if you're not in ketosis all the time? Are you still getting that nourish? Because the short chain fatty acids are really important. If you're not manufacturing short chain fat, that gives you satiety. It makes that mucus layer you're talking about, and also decreases neuroinflammation in the brain, the ganglia, all these kind of things. You go, these things are kind
Yeah,
of
the
pretty
butyrate.
important.
Yeah, propionic acid, butyrate, and acetoacetate.
Yeah.
And that's why people who promotes the fiber is they think about, oh, the fiber is very important for the butyrate. Yeah, I think my reason is that you do keto or you need fiber, maybe, I don't know,
Yeah,
because
that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm seeing clinically. I'm seeing that where, like I said in my talk, I've had 4 patients who've been carnivore get uh, C. diff colitis with minimal antibiotic intake. And you go, why? It has to be your gut
because they
microbiome
weren't in
screwed up.
ketosis, because they do a carnivore diet without entering ketosis, something like that.
And they're not making short chain fatty acids. You have no source of short chain fatty acids if you're not taking in some fiber. So what I'm saying is you don't have to take big bulk. The point isn't, and this is what's funny because the people on the cruise, they were debating it and they were saying, well, if you have a pipe that's clogged, like the carnivores don't get constipated and most of my carnivore patients don't get constipated, at least at the beginning. And then so you go, okay, they're saying, well, if you put a bunch of fiber in there, you're putting more stuff in the pipe, you're going to clog it and it's not going to come out. I'm saying, what if we're at a resort and we want to go down this long water slide, but there's no water in the slide? How fast are you going to go down this slide? It's not going to go. So you need that mucus layer. It's critically important. So that's why I think a ketogenic diet, that we know it helps with seizure disorder. We know it helps with gut issues. Like people feel better on a ketogenic diet and a carnivore diet, at least initially, because some of those benefits, the Firmicutes, Bacteroides ratios change, all this, these big words, but the point is
long term,
you don't want to lose your, and the first one I heard talking about this that raised my antennas a little bit, because I thought, I think you're over exaggerating, was William Davis, who wrote Wheat Belly and Supergut. And I said, do you have any concerns about the long-term carnivore diet, like of years? And he said, acromancy is going to be a problem. And he's right.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, he's right. I'm seeing that clinically. And he goes, I don't have anything to base that on. I'm just telling you that's what I think, because acromantia, what it does is you put diabetics almost universally have low acromantia. What does acromantia do? It takes the sugar and the starch out of your diet and it makes it into the mucus layer of your colon. So if you starve it long enough, it says, you know what? I'm going to break down that mucus layer and I'll make some sugar. And now what? You break down the mucus. Now you got leaky gut you're talking about. And the big elephant in the room is these lipopolysaccharides, the breakdown products of the bacteria. Once you start leaking that into your body, autoimmune disease, inflammation, neurotransmitters issues, everything. So you say, can you be too strict and that cause you a problem down the road? I don't know, but I'm telling you, some people it is an issue for sure. I could tell you at least 5 people that I have that's been the issue. We fix their gut and they feel great, and their insulin and A1C come down. That guy's A1C went from 6.4 to 5.6 with no dietary changes other than fixing the gut lining.
We'd see that every time, but I think that could be maybe that when you do a carnivore diet, it's not that easy to be in ketosis. You need to add butter and you need to add fat, because some people eat lots of protein. They just eat steaks and it's very difficult for me doing carnivore without my bulletproof coffee and doing my MCT sometimes. That is not carnivore because it's from the coconut. So
yeah, exactly.
Dogmatic. I'm not dogmatic. So
yeah, anyway, I think we're saying that same thing, because being dogmatic can bite you in the butt, and I think it will a lot of people from what I'm seeing. And so you go, okay, what do I do? Okay, add a little teaspoon. I don't get paid anything, but add in a little inulin to your diet, right? A little something to appease these guys, because I'm seeing those 5 that make the mucus layer all falling off. Because if you're not eating any, they're going to starve out. If they live on these certain specific ones that are important. So it's kind of like saying you have a society, but we're just going to get rid of all the police and see what happens, or let's get rid of all the firemen and see what happens. That's not good. You want to have some of those guys around just in case you need them. You may not need them right now, but eventually you will.
Yeah, it could be an issue. It's interesting that you say that. I will keep an eye on that. It's very difficult for us to do this stool test here in Mexico, and that's hard for me to learn.
Yeah, that's a hard one. Yeah, and that's what I think. Even the U.S. people aren't checking it. So I started checking, and I've been stunned by what I'm seeing, because I go, wow, this is really interesting. Because If you would have told me about leaky gut 10 years ago, that's hocus pocus, doesn't mean anything. And it's crazy. But when I start looking at the research, I'm like, guess what? Irritable bowel syndrome, they're saying it is leaky gut. Those
Uh-huh.
inflammatory markers leak onto the nerves, cause nerve irritation, you get diarrhea, you get constipation, you get all these health problems, right? And you go, okay. And the other thing is when you look at this is my other concern is long term with uh, decreased gut diversity, right? Parkinson's, dementia, all of those chronic disease we see have obesity, diabetes, decreased gut diversity by eating crappy food
But
and seed
but
oils, probably
seed oils, yeah. But when,
emulsifiers.
yeah, but where do we find these associations of Akkermansia and all those stuff are association? Because I read, sorry, that our microbiome can change every day,
Yeah,
and
it can.
I don't know. I keep an open in the microbiome. I'm researching about microbiome. I agree with you that we need to keep our eyes open. That's why I'm telling you this, but I'm not dogmatic as I mentioned you. But this is the questions I made that so what if these people with Parkinson's in that moment, this precise moment, we see the microbiome of the people with Parkinson's, and we find a correlation that low firmicutes, high firmicutes, low bacteroides, and
Mm.
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, a lot of time we don't know the chicken or the egg. Is it the stress that
Yeah.
causes the messed up gut microbiome, or is the messed up gut microbiome that affects the stress? But the more data we're seeing, it looks like
Yes.
if you fix your gut microbiome, if like from what we're seeing on a ketogenic diet, I
Yeah.
think what we're doing is we're fixing people's gut microbiome by taking out the processed food and the garbage. We can all agree on that. And then you could decide what end of the spectrum you want to fall on, right? If you
Uh-huh.
love just ribeye steak the rest of your life, you may want to think about just adding a teaspoon of inulin here and there. I think
I
I don't see a
yeah.
downside to that.
No, I add butter. I made a strict carnivore and I
Butyrate,
didn't.
right?
Yeah, and I butyrate. There are supplements of butyrate. I think this is like a
Mm-hmm.
postbiotic. I think they use, and you can use the short chain fatty acid just like apple wine vinegar, and I think
Yeah, because I think what we're seeing, I think that what I know I'm seeing is if you have decreased gut diversity, then you take an antibiotic for an ear infection or sinus infection, something else. Now you screwed up the entire. Now you can knock off some of these fragile guys that are starving anyways, and just bink, knock them out. Then you're in trouble because it's hard to
yes,
replace it when they're gone. So you go, let me just feed them every once in a while and keep them there, just in case I need friends later, right? So,
yeah,
anyways,
because you have a
that's
microbiome. You have a microbiome that has adapted to your environment during your life, and you take the antibiotic and you swap all your microbiome that has grew with you in the environment you live, and maybe after that you have a problem. And
mm-hmm.
I think I can share with you that I use sometimes for leaky gut, and it works for me. That I use, like, understanding the physiology. I use apple wine vinegar
Great.
to
Yeah.
acidify the stomach, because the the more acidic is your stomach, the more mucus you have in your stomach, and the more strong your lower sphincter,
Mm-hmm.
lower esophagus sphincter is closed, and you won't have the regurgitation. You will have
Yeah.
a acidophile. You will digest good your food, your proteins. After that, I gave them sometimes the MCT oil for produce butyrate as postbiotic,
Mm-hmm.
and I also use glutamine with patients that don't have some tendency to cancer. I don't know, because this is this controversy about the glutamine to people with cancer,
Mm-hmm.
family history. I don't know, but it works for me for 1 month, and they
Yeah, just
are
trying to heal the gut lining and help heal everything with glutamine, right? And yeah,
yeah.
these are all reasonable. And then interesting, apple cider vinegar. There's actually some they took college students and they put half them on apple cider vinegar, one shot a day. Their depression, anxiety rates were way better than the other ones. You go, man, I mean, it's doing
Just with that,
something. Hmm?
just with that.
Just with that. That's the only intervention they did, is a shot of apple cider, and it wasn't even, it was red wine vinegar they used, actually. I was like, wow, that's really interesting. So it may stimulate those guys, because all these guys give up acetic acid. These guys all give off metabolites that feed each other and stuff. So maybe we're missing those in the Western diet. I don't know why it is, but it's so, you think that's the dumbest thing, and then it's like, okay, you got to look at it and see why we're seeing that. I'd love to pick your brain on one other thing. Like when I'm in, and I don't know if you see the same, what your population is there, but in underserved areas in Guatemala, I'm seeing people with thin people, and their sugars are 500, 400. They're asymptomatic,
yeah.
walking in the clinic. And so the doctors are insisting that if they give them milk, their sugars get better. I'm like, there's tons of sugar in milk, and they do it, and that they say the sugars get better. And they said, we know there's sugar. We know what you're saying, doc, but they're getting. So I don't know if you're seeing a malnourished population. So what I did, and they're the sponsor of my podcast, so I don't mind saying it here. That health code, I took it and I gave it to one lady. Her sugar went from 556 down to 280 in 1 hour. No other
With
intervention.
what?
She took health code,
Using
a
what?
protein shake. Protein shake.
Okay.
And what I don't know is, because I don't have the ability down there, is see if they have very low insulin. They're just not making insulin because of a nutritional deficiency. Because I went to my hotel room and I looked, and I had, I think, 5 people we did it with. The least drop I saw was 50 points on their sugars in an hour. I'm like, that's really weird. Anyways, I went back to my hotel and I looked and I said, what nutritional deficiency cause diabetes? And I said, zinc deficiency has zinc. It has some short chain fatty acids, and there has all these different things that are all, you go, MCT oil, ghee, and you go, wow, that's really intriguing. It's interesting. I don't know why it's happening, but I'm telling you, I'm seeing it. So we'll see. Hopefully I can get a study next year when I go. But I'm wondering if you see anything like that nutritionally, when you get people's amino acids up, or you get them better nutrition, that their sugars get under better control.
Yeah, well, we have glucagon, we have insulin, and this thing about insulin suppression, about we're seeing, I don't know if that's true, but it makes kind of sense that if you are just eating meat, your glucagon will go super high and your insulin won't be needed, and you will have a glucagon insulin ratio about much more glucagon than insulin, and your glucagon will go super high, maybe.
And make your A1C go up. Yeah, I know that theory, but here's the problem I have with it. These guys, I haven't documented. This is why I'm like, one guy's carnivore for 2 years, right? His insulin 17. We fix his gut. He's still carnivore, and his insulin goes from 17. Why is it 17? Because he has leaky gut. Lipopolysaccharide leaky gut causes insulin resistance by itself. You could eat 0 sugar and you're going to have insulin resistance. That's what I'm seeing. And so you go, So his insulin comes down, his A1C comes down, he gets more insulin sensitive. Is not because his insulin was like, your insulin 17, you're not having a glucagon effect in this guy, at least, right? And my other patient was the same, and another patient the same. Insulin went from 25 to 5.
with intervention, which intervention you did?
Fixing their gut lining. Yeah, putting them on some inulin. I put them on a good probiotic. I put them on some glutamine, like what you're doing, and I'm seeing their sugars get better, right?
I think that luckily, has to be with stress. I think maybe that could be with stress, because you mentioned that your microbiome helps your neurotransmitters, and maybe you will be able to manage your stress. And there is this very interesting thing that we have not only hormonal regulation for insulin and just leptin and glucagon, we have sympathetic and parasympathetic stimulus of the beta cells and the alpha cells. And also, when you fight or flee, when your amygdala is secreting this stuff to secrete adrenaline and cortisol, your fatty tissue your white fatty tissue will become insulin resistant, because when you're fighting with the lion, you don't want to store energy. You want to give all the energy to your muscle, and your muscle will be more insulin sensitive. However, your muscle is not using that glucose, and you will have this benefit of insulin.
Yeah, because you're not actually running away. You're just stressed all the time. So you're raising your sugars and stress hormones and everything. Yeah.
And Dr. Ben Bigman has speak about this cortisol, like stress, inflammation with the LPL and also the ceramides, and also the hyperinsulinemia. What he says is the primary causes like inflammation, stress, with 4 activating your amygdala, your sympathetic nervous system. Your sympathetic nervous system stimulate gluconeogenesis, your hepatic glucose production. And I saw an article, very complex article about it, about how your POMC in your brain, and when you are in your rest and digest moment, you have your GLP-1 raising. I think GLP-1 activates the rest and digest mode in our body. Like, I'm
Maybe.
testing.
Yeah,
Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot to that. And I think those are all great ideas. This is what I love, that we could talk and kind of bounce ideas and go, what do you see? What do I see? What do we think? And it's all speculation, a lot of it, except some of it we have data for. I'm fortunate enough to have some data to say, okay, this is what I'm seeing. I don't know what everyone else is doing. But like what you're saying is really important. And I think the take home is, don't be stressed. Go to Cancun, relax a little bit, sit on the beach, take it easy. And we're not lazy for doing that, right?
And or guilty, because people feel guilty for doing that thing. Like, you shouldn't feel guilty for take some rest. And I think we're learning a lot about the stress, the influence of stress in the cardiovascular disease. For example, your sympathetic system, if you're always fighting with a lion, you will have your heart rate go up, your blood vessels will be like contracted. And
to make it even worse, and Ben Bickman, he was the first one I saw talking about this too, is elevated cortisol will break down muscle tissue to make sugar. Right?
Yes.
Because muscle becomes a detriment, because your body's saying, look, you're going to be starving to death. We got to get rid of muscle, and we got to make you as fat as we can. And then you're stressed and tense and worried. You go, well, how come I can't lose weight? That's why when we weigh ourselves 6 times a day and we worry about every detail of everything, we don't lose weight doing that.
Cortisol high, insulin high. That's a shortcut. No, it's a
short circuit.
Because you are running from the lion, so your fight or flee your fight or flee system, and also using your insulin, that is the one we use in the rest and digest moment. So that's incompatible. I think.
Yeah, it's not physiologic. That's not homeostasis where you should be, right?
Some cells will be getting the signal on your system that you should rest and digest, and other cells in your body will receive the signal that you need to rest and digest. And that's why that's paradoxical, because you can be in the same moment, or physiologically, I don't think you can be in the both at the same. But that's very interesting, because we're keeping an eye on that, doing this research and explaining to the patient why you share these thoughts with them. They try to do it. We confirm the hypothesis, and we learn with that.
Yeah, and I think it's so important, because I've heard several people say this recently. Continuous glucose monitors are a waste of time, because but the point is, you have to understand how to interpret it. As an example, Doc, as we were talking before, I found out right before I had to give my talk on the cruise that my mom, everyone's texting me and calling me and freaking out like 5 minutes before I go up there. I get up there, I can't even catch my breath. I'm trying to breathe because of all this, but my sugar went from 65 to 160. I didn't eat anything that morning. All I had was black coffee, right, with a little heavy whipping cream. And I was like, holy cow. When I went back and looked, I'm like, yeah, I felt that. I felt that. So you think about people all day long walking around that state. That was an unusual state for me to be in. But giving a talk, I get excited anyways. And so anyways, these things that we have to know how to interpret the data. And so that I'm so glad you're doing what you're doing. And I look forward to the years of us down the road going, hey, Brian, have you thought about this? Here's what I'm seeing in clinic. Here's what I'm seeing. And that's what's great, is that we have that ability to share information and clinical and say, this is what's working. Here's what's not working, right?
Yeah, and every patient is a different story. They have a different environment. I like the thing Dr. Robert Lustig says sometimes, that environment influence the behavior, and sometimes environment drives biochemistry, and sometimes the environment is very important. Our social networks, uh, the thing we do with to be grateful with people. I think to be grateful is something that when you are grateful with people, I I want to get those connections together, like biochemistry speaking. That's something I join the dots so I can explain that, like with biochemistry. I love that with physiology, and because
Yeah, we're saying the same language, man. I mean, it's the
yeah,
same language. I mean, if someone's stressed and tense, I go, keto doesn't work for me. Well, you're not sleeping, you're stressed, you're tense, you're not exercising, you're fighting with everyone. You know what I mean? When you're in that state, it's nothing's gonna work. You gotta chill out a little bit. Like, having life stress does. I mean, we can't avoid it all, but we say, what can we do? Can we go do sauna or cold plunges or other things that help bring it, or breathe, or collect rocks, or like you said, gratitude. Like, this is real. Like, having gratitude, you count your blessings. They did studies with people counting their blessings for 3 minutes every morning, and they did better than people who were waking up listening to the news. How many of us, myself included, will pick up the phone? What happened overnight? What did I miss? Right? And things like that. You go, you can't do anything about it. You might as well just enjoy your life a little bit and go throw the ball for your dog in the morning instead.
yeah, or go walking every morning, just listen
Yeah, get out in the
to a
sun.
podcast. Yeah, like pray to someone, whatever you want. Believe that there is something above you. Don't need pick any god, something for maintain your humility, to have faith,
Or have your
because
wife kick you in the leg if you start getting lifted off the ground with a big head, right?
definitely I thought, yeah, yeah, that's what she said. And I try to keep that. Sometimes we have that imposter syndrome that I know that you maybe have been through, or I don't know, because when you truly want to help people, I'm not any saint, I'm not, but sometimes I question myself, is am I really in this, like, is am I doing this for some benefit I want? Like, because sometimes I start thinking, I really appreciate when someone gets better, like with honesty, and you see the results. But I grew, or we all grew, in a nihilistic world when he has and some interesting, some interest. Maybe my interest is my ego to help another people. I don't know. Maybe that is my food. I don't know, but I like I like that.
Yeah, I think it's the same thing. Like, my wife would ask me that same question when I was working those 18-hour days, and I'd be every day I got home. She go, "How was your day?" I go, "Oh my gosh, two people yelled at me. They had to wait. This happened. This happened. The lab wasn't working right." Like, every day was negative. And then I go to Guatemala. I'm in the jungle for 2 weeks, and like, we're working our tail off. People are coming from miles, and like, we're just working, and like, it's so much fun. And I come back. She says, "How was the trip?" "Oh my gosh, I did this," and we're like so excited. She goes, "How come every day after work here you're like burned out and tired, and then when you go to Guatemala, you're on fire for a month or two after that?" And I said, you know what? I think it's the appreciation of the people, and I'm really helping people, and I'm not dealing with insurance companies and getting prior auths, and I want an MRI, I want all this. I don't deal with any of that. I just go, okay, here you go. How's life? And then we talk about depression or anxiety, their husband left, or whatever it is. And we're doing
Yeah.
real medicine, not just saying, here's a pill, here's a pill. That's what I did for years. I go, here, you have a headache? Oh, here, take an aspirin. Right? Oh, your stomach hurts? Here, like, even though it's the exact wrong thing, let's give you some stuff to get well, why do you have stomach acid? That's a problem, right? Why is it irritating you? And like, what you were saying astutely is, you increase the stomach acid, the stomach does better. It's supposed to be acidic. You're not supposed to be taking,
Definitely.
like, have no acid in your stomach ever. That messes up the pancreatic function. I mean, this whole
Your B12, your
everything,
methylation
change of
cycle, your
calcium,
time.
yeah, everything. So anyways, these things we just do because it's the quick easy fix, instead of saying, hey, why do you have, someone comes to you and they have a headache, neck pain, stomach pain, like, how's life? My husband left me. Okay, this is stress related, let's fix it. My interpreter would know that. Like, I have to go, what do you think it is? Stress. like while they're giving the symptoms, right? And because they all go together, all these things we see. So what's your favorite thing about medicine right now that you're doing?
My favorite thing? That's a really tricky
There's so
question.
much, I know.
Um, I think medicine and the way we practice medicine is allowing me to see many people and learn lots of uh, variables that affect a human being. I am starting to see a human being, of course, as a whole, uh, that 2 plus 2 are not 4, and we need to read the the the, that human has a story, had a story, uh, and I am learning so much. And I think when I talk with people, with patients, some patients are like psychoanalysts because they are all day psychoanalyzing people and eating donuts, and they come with me and they asked me what's my age, and I said, oh, 33. They told me, oh, I can't believe it. I think it's for the keto. It's the keto. That's why I'm reading a lot. That allows me to want to read, to want to learn. That's my purpose on life. But
Hmm.
that has made me mature, I think, and I have a lot of learn. But I think I'm in peace. Like I don't have I have regrets, but I think those regrets make me stronger. Like
Hmm.
that thing have made me more resilient, because if I see people problem and I compare to mine, and I see people that don't have the problems I have, and it's like a connection that I have with patients. I love to be in my office talking with patients, and when I go home, I think I I am becoming a better father, a better husband. Uh, if my wife is listening to this, she would say, "Yeah, but lots of way to go." I know, but she has recognized me that I was like a hyperactive guy, like a young guy, like uh, we all have our problems, but I think makes me a better person to share these true insights, not trying to sell
Yeah.
something for my benefit. I truly do it for the benefit of the patient, or maybe it's my benefit, as you said, that I want to feel these feelings of helping people. Maybe it's for me, but
Yeah, we're
it's for
selfish
the
that way.
tribe.
You get so blessed by helping people and seeing them get better. You don't say, "Oh, how
I
much money did I make on this? How much like, I mean, and I get it. We have to survive, but that's not your primary motivation. That's clear in meeting you. That's why I wanted to have you on too, is because you care, you're nice. I see you talking to everyone there at the conference, and you're so kind and you're educating people, and so, your future is so bright. So I'm glad to be part of that, a little part of that step that
really
you're
try
doing.
to do it. And you have been an inspiration for me, truly, because I have heard your presentations in Low Carb USA about compassion. I feel, what's the word, like identify with you. Like
Hmm.
I think the way you manage your practice, I think is very similar as the way I practice, and that's what I got close to you, and say hi every time I see you in the conference, and I hope this year I can make it, because I have a little boy. I don't know if the finances
Yeah,
will
being a
be,
dad and everything. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. It's
but
hard.
but
But
it's
man,
it's
it's
very
always great. It's always great. So I have to ask you, since it's Life's Best Medicine podcast, if I say, "Hey man, what matters? What's life's best medicine?" If you were just telling your kids like what really matters in life, what would you tell them?
have a why,
What's that?
have a why, have a why, a
Have a why.
purpose,
Have
a
a
purpose in your
purpose.
life.
Yeah, wake
Why are
up.
you doing this? And when you have a why, all your neurotransmitters, all your behavior, all your all your personality will go through that, because and you will go like reach you need to what's the word, like you have to point high, uh, and you will end your mission the day you die.
Yeah,
And
so
if you
much of that is attitude, right? How your attitude is on this journey. So if I call you and wake you up and go say, okay, Ruben, we're gonna go work all day in the field, you're like, I can't get up, I'm tired. It's like, hey, we're going on vacation, all expenses paid, let's go have fun. Oh, I'm awake, I'm ready to go, and you're like ready to get your hair brushed and
that's
everything.
dopamine, man. Your
Yeah,
dopamine is
yeah.
rising your energy.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah,
how you look at life and everything. It's so important. So everyone, you've
yeah,
had a platinum level discussion here. Doc, it's so great to have you. I'm so
it was
glad. And I
great.
get to do this again. I'm so happy with low carb MD. We're gonna run this back and let
Oh
Tro
yeah,
ask you some questions too.
let him torture me some tough questions. It could
Yeah,
be,
that would be
but
good. Yeah, that would be good. And also I have to ask you, how do people get in touch with you? How do they track you down either on social
I
media or if they're in your area and they want to track you down as their doc, which they should definitely do?
yeah, I'm kind of a shy doctor. I am working with that. I one of my plans is
Anyone,
doing
you
something
know
like you.
what, guys? I'm just gonna have to. If anyone's just listening on the podcast, look at this. You just turn on your, just go to YouTube and look at this guy's. I see this guy. I'm like, he's so good looking and smart and nice. I'm like, I tell my wife, like, yeah, he's married. Yeah.
Oh
So, but
yeah,
you're
I
so
remember.
humble and kind, and really, you've got so much going for you. But anyways, I just wanted to let people know this guy is
Yeah,
the
Rancon
real
Up is,
deal.
yeah. Thanks for your words, and doing is, I'm Rubén Ancona Bolaños, but you just need to search for Ranconap, RANCONAB MD in Instagram. At, until now, I only have that social media, but I promise I will have my podcast, and you will be one of the first in my in the
Oh wow, man!
yeah. I
Awesome!
promise you. I
Congrats!
promise you. I
Yeah,
promise
that's
you.
awesome. That's
Yeah,
awesome. Yeah. Hey,
yeah.
thanks for taking time from your family and
No, no,
joining
no.
me. And yeah, I know it was a little scheduling problem to get us both together. And so I
Yeah,
really appreciate your time. I knew it was going to be great, but it was even better than I anticipated. It's like, this is amazing. And thanks for your
thanks,
and
man.
everything you're doing. And then when I say crazy stuff, you go, Brian, look, here's what it really is.
Look at
And
this.
and that's what we need to do and have fun and go, okay, let me change what I'm doing. That's what I love about having young, smart docs coming up behind us. And we're all kind of, and that's the other thing is sharing our knowledge, right? Jason Fung was so kind to share his knowledge with me. And, all these people that are, as you see in the conferences, people share, like, here's what I think is going on. And then we can discuss it and be cordial and have a good time. But we all get better and our patients get better care by talking to each other about stuff. So,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
as human
No,
beings,
thanks,
right?
man.
We can learn life lessons because we've been through a lot. And like, I didn't know that about you, like having to wait and wait and wait. I waited between med school and between undergrad and med school. And it's,
Uh-huh.
like you said, God's timing, because my wife and I were boyfriend and girlfriend at the time. We broke up for a year and then I applied to med school and like I got accepted in Chicago and out of state. I was like, I want to stay in California so bad. And we didn't talk for that year. And then I get accepted to USC. We got back together and like now we're married for 30 years, so
Oh,
that year off, like just working and doing research and doing things like that. Had I gone to Chicago, we probably would have never reconnected. So you go, okay, that year
yeah,
off, that was a good year to take off. Plus, I became Christian
great.
that year too, so I did a lot of good stuff in that year. So it all worked out. So here we are.
Here we are, and
Yeah,
just need to be grateful. As I told you, I think that's all it matters, and have a purpose, and share with friends. When every time I go to the conferences, find your tribe, find people that likes to be with you. Don't push yourself to be with people that you're doing because you should to, but
yeah.
you go to people that I think was the word, like you should be with people that challenge you. I think
Hmm.
like you should be with that kind of people, not people that you are the power, you're the
Yeah, yeah,
authoritarian people to have your subject. No, be with someone you want to play, but when you want to play, you don't want to win the games every day, And I think
yeah. I heard that said
challenge
one
me.
time too. I heard that said one time. Someone was an Olympic runner and she broke all the records, and they asked like, how did you run so fast? And she said it was the footsteps behind me. Like she could hear how close that person was, and that motivated her to move that much faster, right? And you go, wow, that's what we all need to do, is motivate each other to do better. You know how it is.
Yeah.
I saw a picture of you on the bike. Do you ride road bikes?
Yeah. I used to be an Ironman, but
I know, man.
I'm doing an Ironman right now. I want to be a present father, and the much as I can, because they want someday they will go, and I'm a
Well, if
very
we're in San
family.
Diego at the same time, I'll grab you a bike, man. We'll go for a ride on the Strand out there, right next to the where we do our conference. That'll be a good time. So, but thanks
Yeah,
again, man. Go see your family. Blessings to you,
yeah,
and everyone listening. This is a huge treat for me, and hopefully for you too. I know, but there's so much.
definitely.
If you go back and listen to this doc's doing some great work, and you're going to hear a lot about him in the future. So, keep your eye out
Thanks.
for him, and I'll figure out
Thanks,
how to
Doc.
roll my R's. Ruben.
Yeah, Ruben.
All
Thanks,
right, man.
Doc.
Blessings
Appreciate
to
it.
you. Take care. Have a
Bye
good
bye.
one. Thanks
Bye
again.
bye.
Bye. Thank you for listening to this episode. We greatly appreciate your support. We would greatly appreciate a positive thumbs up on all of the platforms like iTunes and Spotify or wherever you're listening. And we just thank you for our Patreon supporters. We greatly appreciate your help in getting this message out. We think there's a lot of important information, and hopefully this helps you. Have a great day, and thank you for listening, and thank you for your support.